Let's get off the line. Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and thanks to Boston Motorsports in Brighton, Massachusetts, we're driving this 2021 Maserati Levante GTS and Verde Acido, or Acido, the Italians can correct me, metallic, this green monster with a 3.8 liter twin turbo V8 making 550 horsepower. And Maserati gets a bad rap sometimes because people think they're just leather-clad Jeeps. And the reality is you're not getting a Ferrari V8 in your Jeep. And this thing sounds the business. Yes, this 3.8 liter twin turbo V8 is essentially the same engine that you'd get in a GTC4 Lusso T, a 488 GTB, and even the SF90 Stradale. Now, obviously, there's some changes between the engines for those specifications to make more power in some of the Ferraris, but I will tell you, this feels every bit as Italian V8 as those do. It's mated to an 8-speed ZF transmission, and this thing gets out of the hole. Up front, we've got these beautiful 22-inch wheels with a 265 section tire, and in the rear, a 295 section tire, so its 0 to 60 is no joke, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun with it today. But first, let's just take a look at the overall style. I think this is a really handsome car, and the Levante, while it's been around for a while, it does look really good, especially in its later years. All the lines are gorgeous. It's still quintessentially Italian, but I must urge you, if you're going to buy a Maserati, please get a cool color. Get it in yellow, get it in green, get a cool deep red or blue. Black Maseratis, man, super boring. I'm not into it. Inside, this is where things get even more exciting because, hey, we've got frameless doors, very sports car, and to make sure that our noise insulation is good, we've got double pane glass. In here, we've got this gorgeous brown leather with all the texture in the world. And that's the thing, is if you are somebody who really appreciates some of the fine details in these vehicles, Maserati does offer quite a bit in the way of trim. This one even has the optional carbon fiber paddle shifters. In the rear, it's pretty standard back here. There's not a ton of room, but actually this bench is very comfortable and cozy, and you're going to be greeted with your Bowers and Wilkins sound system. And you also get 2-stage heated rear seats. That's lovely carbon fiber trim here, and the roof is all Alcantara. The body line of the car is pretty sleek and swoopy, but they've definitely thought of the rear passengers by giving this additional headroom. So I'm fine. I'm 5'10". I am not touching my head on the roof, and I have lots of support actually from these rear seats. Now, standard stuff, you've got, a fold down armrest and cup holders with a little ski pass down here because this is a 40-60 split. So if you need to keep 2 people back here and throw the skis between for that getaway, you are good to go. Some chargers and a cigarette lighter, nothing too outrageous, but gets the job done. Let's take a look in the back for those of you who need the space. Pretty standard stuff, nothing you wouldn't expect from a typical large SUV. And a little bit of storage under here for some of the things you don't want rolling around, but there you go. We'll close this up and take a look under the hood, because this is really what separates it from the other SUVs in its class. Is no one else has an Italian twin turbo V8, and it's really cool that you're able to look at this and know that it's shared with legitimate supercars. They seem to have set it back pretty darn far in this chassis, so it's relatively balanced in that regard. So let's close it up, start it up, give you a rev, and show you what it's like to drive this thing, because I actually find it to be pretty fun. To start the Maserati, we've got our key fob here, foot on the brake, and our engine start stop over on the left. So first, have a listen. Pretty tame in the standard mode. We'll open up those valves. So let's see how she gets off the line. We're in sport mode, which lowers the car just a bit. We'll even put on the sport suspension, and off we go. That 0 to 60 comes in under 4 seconds. That's pretty outrageous, and you can tell how it just starts that boost in the mid-range and then screams to redline. It feels phenomenal. And it's no joke, like this actually feels fast. I got in this car and I was genuinely surprised. And the ZF 8-speed does a pretty good job of keeping up with this for a torque converter. Now, it's no surprise, we've been exposed to the ZF 8 for a long time, but you gotta remember this 3.8 liter twin turbo V8 is often mated to Ferrari's dual clutch transmissions. And to go from a 488 GTB to a Levante with a torque converter, it's definitely something different, but it works. Now, it weighs 5,000 pounds, and it doesn't mask it terribly well, but the power sort of makes up for it, right? Like, I don't feel ultra confident just bombing around back roads just because I want to be able to bring it down. The brakes are fine, but it's still a large SUV. And then what we can do is we can pull all this back, not that we really need to, but we can raise this up into like off-road mode, and then look at that. Now we're super high up, we can clear everything. Not that you're probably off-roading your Levante, but you know what? You could. It sure gets stiff for an SUV. And it can be a little bouncy over some of the uglier terrain. But man, when you get the revs up, it really screams. Column-mounted paddles in proper Italian fashion. But yeah, this is actually a genuine hoot to drive. I'm having a good time, and typically Maseratis aren't my cup of tea. I feel like there's a lot of Ghiblis and Quattroportes and Levantes out there that I just don't need to drive, but certain trim levels like this GTS suddenly make it all come together. And if you get the right trim level in a Maserati, you're gonna have a good time. Let's get off the line. I mean, that's just outrageous. And the sound is so good. When did we get to a point where we were snobby about Italian cars? I know that there's a lot of things you could say, well, I seen that blinker stock in a Jeep. Well, that's fine, but you definitely did not see this engine in a Jeep. This is so cool. A little bit of snarl from the downshifts. Oh my goodness. What a grocery getter. What character. And the other thing is, it doesn't really matter how it performs in terms of numbers. Like, there could be an X5M that's faster. There could be an Audi RSQ8 that might be a little faster. That does not matter. It is besides the point, because you don't get this powertrain in those vehicles, and there's a bit of soul in this Maserati that I have to say is lost amongst some of the competitors that may on paper have a more cohesive package. I don't think Honda has anything in this class. I don't think we can expect a CR-V to keep up with this thing in any spec. Maybe we need a CR-V Type R for these purposes. This thing just eats miles, man. Oh my goodness. I want to go out to an autostrada or an autobahn and just drive it 170 miles an hour. I bet it'll do it. It goes up to 230 on the speedometer. Oh, this is neat. Sometimes cars you don't expect to be really entertaining just sneak up on you. And I can't believe I'm out here making the case for Maserati right now, because am I the typical Maserati customer? No, not at all. This is not something that I would typically really even chase. So just a Boost Blue Civic Type R, we like to see that. But What I like about Maserati is that they offer a lot of personalization, so you can get the colors and the interior trims and stuff, and sure, you're definitely paying for it, but when they combine that with a Ferrari powertrain, that's when you've got my attention. That's when I'm listening. And now we're out here just chilling. We're in normal mode. Fairly quiet cabin, nothing to write home about in that regard. But I've always felt the road. Never am I insulated from the world in a way that makes me feel like this is a pure luxury car. It always has that sports car vibe, just because it's always giving me feedback from the road through the steering, through the suspension and the tires. And we're on a 22-inch wheel, so there's not a whole heck of a lot of sidewall protecting us from the world. So that suspension's definitely doing a bunch of the work. This car lowers itself so quickly too, so if you do put that down and it's in the aero ride height, it takes like 2 seconds for the car to just drop. And just like that. I mean, seriously, it's friggin' awesome. There's so much torque. You know that I'm kind of a naturally aspirated fanboy. However, when you get the torque of a good turbo setup, it starts to change my mind, or at least I come around a little bit to it, because the way this pulls at the top of the rev range with the boost is just bonkers. You can't believe what you're driving. Suddenly you go from a 5-seat SUV that you're dropping the kids off at soccer practice with to just a brutal monster. They've equipped it with appropriate brakes, so it does feel like it can come to a halt, and because we're on some fairly sticky Continental tires, it hooks up. It does what it needs to do to get you down to a stop comfortably. That rear end just comes alive. I mean, under power, can turn this thing and just go for it, and it puts it all down. This all-wheel drive system is phenomenal, and it definitely feels pretty rear biased. I mean, that was just something getting off the line. Oh, all right. Now, how is it to live in town? You know, let's go drive it around some normal roads and tame it down a little bit. We've had our fun. Anyone who you drive by who's remotely into cars is going to hear this exhaust and recognize that something is interesting with it, because that's the deal. You're dealing with not just some, rudimentary rumbly V8 from Dodge, which, no offense, those are great engines. We like a good pushrod V8, but this is something completely special, and it's like, where's the money going when you buy your Levante? It's going to this powertrain. So around town, I will admit, this is not the most luxurious thing, and I am still in sport mode in the suspension. We'll turn that off. And it's actually kind of hard to tell when you're in certain modes down here, just because they only put this very faint white light on that button. So it's not like a blaring in your face red thing that says, hey, it's on. You have to actually look a little closer than you'd like to. So while I think the easy choice when you buy a fast luxury SUV clad in leather and all these things is maybe a Porsche or a high-end BMW or Audi, I think the thoughtful choice might actually be somewhere in this Maserati lineup. Now, it's not for everybody, but I will say, to be able to get a Ferrari V8 that pulls like this has to be worth it to some people, has to be worth it to the folks who are really into these vehicles and want a unique experience. Because if you're in the corporate world, which if you're driving something that's expensive, you are likely somewhere in the director or VP level at your job, you see what all your coworkers drive, and you see the lineup of boring German executive cars. You could change that. You could mix it up a little bit with something like this, and then you can personalize it with colors. And you get to say that you've got a Ferrari V8 in yours. Not so bad. The way this thing is actually outfitted and the way it handles and the way it comes together in this package is something special. So, thank you so much to Boston Motorsports for the opportunity to drive a cool spec Levante GTS. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and being open-minded to brands that you might not always think about, but offer some unique, cool things. the practical brain and the enthusiast brain are always fighting each other, because the practical brain tells you to go for the German sedan or the German SUV, and maybe it's quick and maybe it's got the numbers, but also maybe it's a little vague and numb to drive, not the most exciting thing in the world when it comes to the BMWs and the Audis. But the enthusiast brain says, get the one with the Ferrari V8.